Once, in a small town, there was a man who never spoke. His name was John. Every day he walked through the town, greeting people with a smile and a nod, but he never said a word. The townspeople called him the Silent Man. John lived in a small house on the edge of town. He had no family, no friends, and no visitors. People often wondered why he never spoke, but no one knew his story. Some said he had lost his voice. Others thought he simply had nothing to say. One day, a young boy named Tommy moved to town with his family. Tommy was curious about everything, especially about John. He asked the townspeople, "Why doesn't John talk?" The baker said, "He's sad. Something bad happened to him a long time ago." The farmer said, "Maybe he just likes the quiet." But Tommy wasn't happy with their answers. He wanted to know the real reason. So, one sunny afternoon, he decided to visit John. Tommy walked to John's house and knocked on the door. After a few moments, John opened it, smiling warmly but still silent. "Hello, John," Tommy said. "Can I sit with you?" John nodded and invited Tommy inside. The house was simple and clean. There were no pictures on the walls, no books, and only a few chairs. Tommy sat down and John sat across from him. For a while, they sat in silence. Tommy felt nervous, but he remembered why he had come. "John," he asked, "why don't you talk?" John looked at him for a moment, then stood up and walked to a drawer. He took out a small wooden box and handed it to Tommy. The boy opened the box and found an old letter inside, yellowed with age. The letter read, "Dear friend, if you ever read this, know that I have chosen silence not because I am sad, but because words once hurt me deeply. I spoke too much, said things I didn't mean, and hurt people I cared about. Now I find peace in silence. I listen to the world and let my heart speak in its own way." Tommy looked up at John, who smiled softly. He understood now. John's silence wasn't a burden, but a choice. Tommy nodded, returning the letter to the box. He stood up, thanked John, and left the house. From that day on, Tommy never asked John why he didn't speak. He already knew the answer and respected John's choice. The townspeople still called him the Silent Man, but Tommy called him the Wise Man. And so John continued his quiet life, listening to the world and speaking only with his heart. Thanks for watching. Subscribe my channel.